Credit the Pac-12 for turning in its finest season in quite some time in 2022. The conference was much improved and delivered a number of top 15 teams to college football. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis based on your engagement, your participation. We are delivering our post-spring power rankings. Please check out the ACC. Leave your comments below and let us know where we missed it. Let's run down the Pac-12. And will it be a banner season for the conference? Will they continue to elevate based on great quarterback play, better quarterback play than anywhere in the Power 5, in my estimation, in 2022? And they brought just about everybody back for 23. How about that? Not Jack Plummer, though, as we start at the bottom of the conference with our number 12 team, and that's Cal. The Golden Bears coming off a lackluster 4-8 season. They lost to Colorado. Should we say anything else? They lost to Colorado, who was atrocious, abysmal, beyond belief. Justin Wilcox, I believed, was a great hire by Cal, but he's not proving to be as much. Bad recruiting, not playing up to standards, well below 500 in conference play during his tenure. And yes, their experienced quarterback goes to Louisville. Jack Plummer, 21 touchdowns, 9 picks, is gone. Although they get another quarterback transfer in from the ACC in Ben Finley at North Carolina State, where he vied for starting time there. He's going to be challenged by Sam Jackson V and also Fernando Mendoza, two inexperienced quarterbacks. Byron Cardwell gained over 400 yards rushing for Oregon 2 seasons ago. He's added to the running back room, as well as another transfer in Brian Hightower from Illinois, 37 catches in the Big Ten last year. Their top running back and probably top player at Cal is Jaden Ott, who rushed for almost 900 yards. Cal is number 12 in the Pac-12. All right, at number 11, we go to Arizona State, coming off 3-9, and therefore they hand the keys to the youngest coach in college football, Kenny Dillingham. They've got Jaden Rashada at quarterback after the soap opera that he endured at Florida. Gets signed by Arizona State. Will he start? Well, he's got to fend off the challenge of Drew Pine, the incoming transfer from Notre Dame, who played decent in spots, probably isn't the most talented guy in the world. And check out the tape against USC. He will hang in a ball game, and he was given an opportunity after Tyler Buckner was injured last season for the Fighting Irish. So it's Rashada versus Pine at quarterback. You would expect Pine to be the day one starter. Will he hang on to the job? Tons of underachieving transfers coming into this program, 26 in all. A bunch of high recruits when they came out of high school that didn't do well at big schools. We highlight Jake Smith. He had 48 catches at Texas. Arizona State's our number 11 team in the Pac-12. At number 10 in our post-spring power rankings, another program with a new coach after David Shaw stood on the sidelines for a long time with a lot of success early in his tenure at Stanford. It's time for a change, and it's Troy Taylor coming in from Sacramento State, where he had tremendous success. Only 3 transfers for a Stanford program, so if you look across college football, it's pretty standard to see 12 to 15 transfers coming in to any particular team, and especially bad teams. Of course, they're looking for new players to come in and revive the program, but for Stanford, just 3, and they're all FCS caliber players, so not a lot of help coming from the outside and not much coming in by way of recruiting either, with the 59th rated class for the 2023 cycle. Ari Patu looks to be the starting quarterback, most likely to replace Tanner McKee. Running back E.J. Smith is actually the most experienced player coming back to an offense that is losing just about everybody on that side of the football. Stanford, number 11 in the Pac-12. At number 9, we go to the biggest wild card in the Pac-12. We go to the biggest wild card in all of college football, and you know where I'm going. I'm going to Boulder. Coach Deion Sanders. All right, this is epic. A legendary mass overhaul. We have to check it every day, a few times each day, because the number keeps rising. It's up to, I believe, 43 transfers now into the Colorado program, and they actually lost more than that. They still have scholarships to give out, but the most prized scholarship was given to cornerback and wide receiver Travis Hunter, who has been focusing on the offensive side of the ball during spring. He, of course, came in from Jackson State as the number 1 recruit in all of college football 2 seasons ago. And also 5-star cornerback Cormani McClain, who Colorado wrestled away from Miami and Alabama. Former five-star Havel Smalls comes in from Washington. He did little there, but of course, huge upside as a five-star. Shadou Sanders, of course, Deion's son, will be the starting quarterback. They brought in 4 defensive players from Florida State. None of them stars, but all were contributors and part-time starters for a pretty darn good Florida State defense, including Brendan Gant, who had 112 tackles, career at FSU, and Taylor Upshaw comes in from Michigan. Colorado, fascinating situation with Deion. Can't he pull it off and turn over the roster and win some football games this fall against a pretty tough schedule? We shall see. Our number 9 team in the Pac-12, the Buffs. We go to another reclamation project, and this one already has some proof of concept. Jedd Fisch, a remarkable job in raising Arizona to 5 wins, including a late season win at the Rose Bowl against a playoff-bound or contending team in UCLA. Justin Flo, the big signee from the offseason through the transfer portal, courtesy Oregon. Justin Flo, a former 5-star, huge addition there. You're looking at the 53rd rated recruiting class in the country for Jedd Fisch. Jaden DeLore, of course, makes it happen at quarterback, 25 touchdowns. Let's cut down on the picks, 13. This offense did lose Dorian Singer, who caught 66 balls for over 1,000 yards to rival USC. Our number 8 team in the Pac-12. Will they continue to ascend and get to a bowl game? Arizona. At number 7, we go to a team that in 2022 was on the fringe of the upper echelon of the Pac-12 at times. At times they looked the part. They had a great game against Oregon, went down to the wire, but a pick 6 killed them. Cameron Ward is back to make amends. Washington State coming off a bowl loss to Fresno State to finish at 7-6 under Jake Dickert. Of course, we've well documented what he did a couple years ago in taking over for Nick Rolovich in a very difficult midseason situation. Did a great job. But they have difficulty recruiting high school talent in Pullman, 70th rated recruiting class. Also 9 transfers, including you've got Josh Kelly coming in with 52 catches at Fresno, and also Ahmad McCullough, who had 45 tackles at Maryland as a linebacker. So good reinforcements there, experienced guys at good programs. Cam Ward is back, 23 touchdowns and 9 picks. Our number 7 team in our post-spring power rankings of the Pac-12, Washington State. The outset of Chip Kelly's run at UCLA has obviously been dismal. His first 3 seasons were awful. He took over a top 15 roster in the country, and he could only get 3 or 4 wins a season. But he broke through 2 years ago. And I even dismissed that 8-4 season because they defeated everybody that they should. Some really bad football teams. They lost to anybody with a pulse. This last season, though, they were much, much better and really faltered down the stretch, lost some critical games, could have played in the Pac-12 championship game. They came that close against USC. Then they lost a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter of their bowl game against Pitt. So UCLA's 9-4 last season was actually better than it looked against a good schedule in conference, certainly not out of conference. But who replaces Dorian Thompson-Robinson? He's been the quarterback forever. He's now with the Cleveland Browns. You've got Colin Schlee from Kent State. He's a candidate, as well as the 5-star Dante Moore. 14 transfers coming in for Chip Kelly. So he doesn't like to recruit. That's the knock on Chip Kelly, but he'll bring in the transfers here, including Maliki Matavio, who had 10 catches at Oregon, and also Carson Steele, who comes in from the MAC in the Ball State Cardinals, where Steele ran for almost 1,600 yards and 14 touchdowns. Our number 6 team post-spring in the Pac-12 is UCLA. Give it up for Jonathan Smith. What a job he has done with a difficult program, a difficult situation in Corvallis. When Jonathan Smith took over, they had statistically, based on the S&P Plus, one of the worst rosters in the last 25 years in college football. They just went 10-3 in a solid conference, good conference, up-and-coming conference, very strong in the top 5 or 6. Pulled off some nice wins. Only lost to USC by 3 points. Only gave up 17 points to USC, and they finished 10-3. They win a bowl game, and Oregon State on the move. Well, they need quarterback play. Chance Nolan was the starter for much of last season until he got hurt. He transfers, and now they bring in the former 5-star quarterback DJ Uiagalelei from Clemson. The rep on him is bad. I will say he played okay. He was marginal, but much better than the season before. 9 touchdowns and 10 picks, and really his wide receivers let him down. We'll see if he can be the steadying force on this team that really only lacked a passing game last season. Aiden Childs comes in as the 4-star quarterback. We had a recruiting class that ranked at number 52 in all of college football. Our number 5 team in the Pac-12 post-spring, Oregon State. At number 4, let's go to the other end of the Civil War, and that's Oregon, the Ducks, and Justin Flo. He's gone. Also with some other highly recruited players in the 2022 class. So when the transfer portal opened during spring practice in April, Oregon immediately had a bunch of top 150 players leave. They didn't play or contribute much last season, but that depth piece is missing for Oregon coming into the 23 season. Definitely not missing is a star quarterback. Bo Nix is coming back. 44 touchdowns last season, even though he was hobbled down the stretch and that took away his run game. You've got DJ Uyungale's brother, coming in as a top 50 linebacker signed in the recruiting class. Oregon, an intriguing team in 2023, and our number 4 team in the Pac-12. They were not given respect. They have had to earn respect. The back-to-back Pac-12 champion, Utah Utes, decimated, annihilated USC in the Pac-12 championship game. Cam Rising's health, though, in question coming into this season. They bring in a top 25 recruiting class. They had 5 transfers, including Micah Pittman coming in from Florida State, where he caught 32 passes and 3 touchdowns, and also Emory Simmons, Indiana wide receiver, 37 catches for him with a touchdown, and Levani Demuni, who racked up 204 tackles in his career at Stanford to reinforce the linebacking unit. Our number 3 team in the Pac-12 entering 23 post-spring is Utah. The most impactful transfer for the 2021 college football season was arguably Kenneth Walker Jr. at Michigan State. In 2022, arguably, I'm going to cast my vote for one Michael Penix at Washington. What a year he turned in. He was a bit scattershot at Indiana, did turn in a fine 2020 season in that abbreviated campaign with the Hoosiers as he lifted them to a top 15 team. He comes to Washington and he lights it up with better talent around him. So he's back, and he's got another weapon in Dylan Johnson coming in from Mississippi State, where he ran for 1,200 yards and 149 catches out of the backfield in his career in Starkville. On the defensive side, Washington loses Savell Smalls, the former 5-star, although he didn't produce much in Seattle, but they pick up former USC linebacker Raylan Goforth, who racked up 147 tackles. Our number 2 team in the Pac-12 is Washington. The best historic program, no doubt. The best current roster, probably. The program with the best brand, the best notoriety, the most glamour, and of course they're headed off to the big bad Big Ten, but they are back for one more season in the Pac-12 to try to win a championship for the first time since 2017, and that's of course Lincoln Riley's USC Trojans. 7th-rated recruiting class in the country, and they also top 5 in transfers. So the talent additions were massive last offseason, but they continue this offseason because the defense was still pretty darn bad in 2022. They bring in also a late recruit signee in the number 1 tight end in the nation, Deuce Robinson out of Arizona. Dorian Singer, we mentioned him as a loss for Arizona, the big addition for USC with over 1,000 yards receiving and 66 catches. The prize of the early additions through the transfer portal, especially on the defensive side, include Bear Alexander. You've got Marshawn Lloyd, the running back at South Carolina. He comes in to fortify a deep and talented running back room. Mason Cobb is maybe the most important addition to this team because of the issues on the defensive side of the ball. And yes, he is a tremendous player, knows where to be, sound player, and pretty much quarterback that defense at Oklahoma State. Alex Grinch has more to work with this season. Let's see if he can elevate the defensive play to match what should be one of the top 3 or 4 offenses in all of college football. Our number 1 team in the Pac-12 post-spring, USC. Please leave your comments below. Tell us about what you think of the Pac-12 race. It should be an intriguing one. It certainly was in 2022. It was the best race of all with 5 or 6 teams in contention, and we could have more of the same coming up in 2023. Let's talk it up right here at the Voice of College Football.